Hello, friends. Welcome back to Spike Week. And on today's show, today's mini-sode, we are going to bring you rounds 2 and 3 analysis for a DraftKings high-stakes draft. Myself, Erik Beimfohr, Rob Coakley, and Bernie Kirt are slow drafting a DraftKings 5-5-5. We made our first round selection and talked our overall strategy on the first episode. And today we make our rounds 2 and 3 selections. We started off with Jahmyr Gibbs. Where do we go in the second and third rounds? I think it's going to be a little bit different than you might expect. So without further ado, no more spoilers. Let's get to the show. All right, guys, we are on to round 2 and round 3 of our DraftKings 5-5-5 draft. And I assume folks have already watched the first episode if they're watching this. But of course, you can go back and watch our discussion, overarching discussion about what we're thinking about in this tournament. From a high stakes strategy perspective, how DraftKings is different, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, we made our first round selection, which was out of the 105, Jahmyr Gibbs. And today we are on the clock in, technically at this exact moment, we're on the clock in round 3, but we are going to talk through our round 2 and round 3 selections. Let me just go ahead and pull it up right away. And then I'll pass the mic on over to you guys and we can start to talk about, let me do this. This is some real fancy tech we got going on here. Showing the mobile screenshot. It was the quickest thing I had available to me. But for the audio folks, we are on the clock at the 20th overall pick. Of course, as I said, we took Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. Top of the queue: Jonathan Taylor, Chase Brown, Tyreek Hill, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs. It's funny because I have Trey McBride starred on here, foreshadowing maybe T. Higgins, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, etc. Kind of a chalk start, if you will. Nobody really fell in this draft. I kind of think there's almost a top 19 or so, 19 or 20, depending upon what you think about some of these guys that are available here. But Rob, what are you thinking with these guys on the clock here in the second round?
Very upset that none of the receivers that we would want fell here. Would be what we really wanted to happen. Now, when that doesn't happen, I don't like any of the receivers that are still here that we would pull up. I'm not a Tyreek guy this year by any means. T. Higgins is whatever. I don't want to grab him here. Garrett Wilson is a big thumbs down. So at that point, it's like, what type of team do we want to build? And if we look at the running backs that are on board, there's Jonathan Taylor, who I don't mind some Jonathan Taylor teams, but I really don't want him in with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think a lot of my Jonathan Taylor teams, I'd want to just build as hero Taylor teams because I think Taylor is like the epitome of a robust running back room. Like he is always like that second running back for teams there. So if we were going running back, I would like Chase Brown or Bucky Irving. And I think the upside that we get if we were to draft one of these running backs is we're going to do 2 running backs, and our 2 running back room will be so much different than most because if we take 2 running backs, we're probably not taking another running back till round 9, 10, 11 at best. So where a lot of other people will be hammering that spot for another 2 or 3 rounds through 9 rounds. So that's one build that I'd be interested in. I'd lean Bucky a little bit over Chase Brown for that one. And then the other thing I would look at is the onesie positions. I think we can push Josh Allen and Lamar to round 3. So my thought process would be, then let's just get our elite tight end and get Trey McBride. So it's a 1A, 1B, 1C for me. I'm fine with any of those guys, but I just don't think I want a wide receiver or Jonathan Taylor here.
Bernie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same position as Rob. Is I don't think we need to go receiver here because I don't want to go 2 of these receivers. So that's really limiting us in the third round and basically forcing our hand into elite QB. Granted, one of them makes back to us. So the most versatile thing here for me is Trey McBride because we could go 1 tight end We could go 2 tight ends. We could even go 3 tight ends. But then it leaves us available in the third round that if there's a faller of any of these guys, or if we want to go double elite onesie and grab a quarterback, we just have more flexibility for however this turn goes. We can do whatever we want. My lean on this is Trey McBride, 25-year-old tight end going into his 4th year. I think he caught 111 balls last year on a PPR site. Like it's not even out of the realm to be like, oh yeah, he's still getting better. He can get more touchdowns. Like there's just ways that he gaps the field at tight end. So if we got Gibbs potentially gapping the field at running back, now Trey McBride, okay, that just gives us a lot of flexibility moving forward in the rest of the 18 rounds.
I am totally with both of you guys. I think I like the elite quarterbacks, just starting that kind of a checking some boxes here down the list. But as Rob said, I think those guys will be available to us in round 3, at least one of them, hopefully. And then even if you don't get that in round 4, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, there's potential other options if we want to go elite quarterback, which we might. I very much like elite quarterback. The running backs, I do actually like Jonathan Taylor a decent amount this year, much more than I have probably the last couple of seasons. I agree with everything Rob said. I don't love pairing him with Jahmyr Gibbs. I will have like a non-zero amount of those teams. But if I'm building kind of my favorite team, it's like JT with CD and Gibbs with not Jonathan Taylor here. And then outside of him, I think the running back range is a little bit flat. From a Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, even Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton. There's a group of guys there that I don't think are all that different from one another. And that's exactly how I feel about the receivers. Like Tyreek, whatever. I know Rob's not interested in Tyreek. I don't really love Tyreek at this new price at all. Most of my Tyreek came from when he was like in the late 3rd on DraftKings. Garrett Wilson, JSN, right? Marvin Harrison. So one of those guys is going to be available to us in the 3rd. Also, so I think the one thing that really, really stands out here is Trey McBride. I think he's just undervalued overall in drafts this year. I have him well ahead of ADP, but specifically on DraftKings with the full PPR, as Bernie mentioned, caught, I just want to double check it, 111 passes in 16 games last season. That seems good. That seems good. The talk this year, and somewhat understandably so, is very centered around Brock Bowers as like the very clear tight end 1. And Brock Bowers is awesome. This has absolutely nothing to do like negative towards Brock Bowers. I think it's like 1A, 1B. Trey McBride is pretty close to Brock Bowers. But we're getting a nice little discount on him. And what this kind of a player does, basically these 2 tight ends and George Kittle on DraftKings. I talked a little bit about this in the DraftKings strategy video the other day, where with the 4th full PPR, but also with the yardage bonuses, they have the ability to like gap the field on the season, gap the field in any one individual week, because there's just not that many 100-yard games anyway on DraftKings from tight ends. And now you're going to get the majority of them between like McBride, Bowers, Kittle, or what have you. And you just like compound all these things, the freedom it gives you we're going to probably need some extra receiver spots by not starting with a wide receiver here. We want to soak up some value in the next few rounds at wide receiver. And this is a pretty flat receiver range. Trey McBride is a pretty clear standout to me here. So I think we're mostly all in agreement. I know Rob, I think, liked the running backs a little bit better maybe than Bernie or I did, but I think we'll be pleasantly surprised with that part of the conversation when we get over here to our 3rd round pick.
I'd also just like to point out that Tyreek Hill recently got punked out by the kicker on his team. Got Uno reverse bullied. So makes him even harder to click now.
I would have to Google what that is.
They were on the bus. Did you guys not see it?
No, I didn't.
They were on the bus and Tyreek Hill was like filming. And is it Sanders? I think Sanders is the kicker.
Jason Sanders. Yeah.
So he's in the seat behind him and Tyreek's just holding his phone. And then you can see Tyreek's face and you can see the kicker's face. He's just holding it there for a while. And he goes to the kicker. He goes, you better not miss a kick this year. And the kicker just looks at him and goes, you better not drop a pass this year. He had nothing to say. It's like you got repunked by the kicker. It's over, I think. For
Did
Tyreek.
you not have that? Like, if you're gonna be a clown and ask the kicker that, shouldn't you have a reply to that exact comment like ready?
Yeah.
Like, you should know. Like, I mean, I know we're talking about Tyreek Hill, so this is a very high bar to clear from an intelligence perspective, but like that's like elementary level shit talking. Like, you have to be able to have that one in the chamber, an answer to that one in the chamber, you know?
Yeah, and there was none. There was no rebuttal. It was a deep stare for about 5 seconds. He was looking, he was searching for sarcasm. He never found it. And he just ended the video at that point.
That sounds about right. So we did decide to not go with. I should have been like, and so we took Tyreek Hill in the second round, but we did go. We did collectively decide. I would call it 2.5 or 2.75 votes for Trey McBride. So we went the Trey McBride route, and I'm actually extremely happy that happened. If you look at the board here, some interesting selections in between our McBride pick and this round 3 pick that we're about to make. So JT does go to Cal right after us. A nice little running back run of those running backs that we talked about. Josh Jacobs, Bucky Irving, the 101 double taps quarterback, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. So that's interesting. Tyreek does go off the board. Brees gets pulled all the way up. So a Saquon Jacobs Brees team out of the 103, I think was good, was very good for us. And then we joked, I had to text Cal, will you pretty please go make this pick so we can record our podcast video? And of course he did, and took T Higgins, which was a little bit disappointing because I think T was very much in play there. But that puts us on the clock. And of course with Jahmyr Gibbs and Trey McBride for the audio folks on the top of the queue right now in terms of ADP. Chase Brown, Josh Allen, Amarian Hampton, Garrett Wilson, Kyron Williams, Marvin Harrison, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Devontae Adams. I think that's probably about the list, kind of a little bit of a tier break thereafter. George Kittle's probably in there, but we have Trey McBride, so who cares about George Kittle? Bernie, we'll go to you first. Where's your head at here with these guys on the board?
All right, let's pull the board back up. So this is the first we're seeing this, Rob and I. Erik had kind of let us know, hey, we're coming up.
Yep.
We got a couple fallers. This draft round of the 101 is making me interested in going Josh Allen. So Josh Allen was already on the board for me. However, when I see that Chase Brown fall, especially with Rob pushing for him last round, he makes sense with the McBride. Now, we're not going balls to the walls week 17. It's just a nice to have when you get an ADP folder like this. But this guy goes to QB. If we lock down Josh Allen and then just pound wide receiver, we can look at the likes of Tet, Xavier Worthy, Pickens, JMO, Sutton, whatever. We're going to get 2 we like coming back around in the 4th and the 5th. I think that's pretty cool because then you're going to see potentially the AJ Brown person will take Hurts before it gets back to us because the potential it's a Neil. Neil's going to see that run on quarterback. Ooh, I don't want to go. What if this guy in the one hole goes 3 or 4 elite quarterbacks? So Hurts is gone, which leaves Jaden Daniels, who's been falling lately. So it's just some gamesmanship that sometimes you do on DraftKings, especially around the quarterback position. So that's my initial read on this, but I'm basically down to 2 players, Chase Brown, Josh Allen. I would be okay with either.
What do you think, Rob?
I mean, that's my list. It's Chase Brown and it's Josh Allen. And just to lean into the Chase Brown side, because I think Bernie hit most of the Josh Allen points right there. How many Gibbs, McBride, Chase Brown teams are there going to be?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I get like a little more. Is that something we want to consider? Because Gibbs, McBride, Chase Brown is not going to be happening too often in these 5-5-5 drafts by any means. Where the Gibbs, McBride, Allen team, it might happen a few times. However, the one thing I'll add about the quarterback thing is they already crunch. And I think that I've made this point before, but elite quarterbacks are worth even more on DraftKings because of how they still start at the same spot as other sites, but all the other quarterbacks move up. So the value is a little bit better on your elite quarterbacks here. And everything that Bernie said makes a ton of sense for us to get Josh Allen. Neil definitely grabs Hurts, even if he has to get him in the 4th round. Hurts doesn't make it back to us. We'd be lucky if Jaden Daniels makes it back to us. Lamar, Burrow puts people in a bit of a pretzel later in the draft that they're going to have to try to go 3. And if we take Josh Allen, that gives us more flexibility to just like eat those rounds, whatever we want to grab there. But God, Gibbs, McBride, Chase Brown, on the other hand, we could do that. And then we could get Kyler as our first quarterback, even if we have to reach a little for him, is also kind of fun. So I'm a little torn at this exact moment while we're trying to make this pick.
I am also a little bit torn. I don't think there's a wrong answer. That's a nice to have. I kind of thought Cal would take Chase Brown, and then I was probably going to slam dunk push for Josh Allen. The Chase Brown, as you mentioned, kind of slide here. So just super quickly looking in Draft IQ for me, amongst my opponents' DraftKings teams, I'm using the opponent draft board right now because it has a lot more new data than the data dump that they gave us, and apparently are just never going to give us any more Millie data. 9% of Gibbs teams have Chase Brown, 8% have Trey McBride. That's like not all 3 of them. If I put Gibbs and Trey McBride together, I don't have a single opponent that has Chase Brown on Gibbs. Now that's only 250 teams. It's not this tournament. It's not this entire this ADP environment, whatever. But I think it's at least like something semi-notable as a data point. So I do think the ADP value and the uniqueness angle is Chase Brown. I think everything else is Josh Allen. So it's how much are we really wanting to value that? Because I would agree with both of you. I don't really see how Hurts gets back to us. I would be a little shocked if Daniels did get back to us. I know that he's falling a little bit, but a lot of these higher stakes guys tend to really like those locking down those elite quarterbacks, as you saw at the 101 taking Lamar and Joe Burrow at the 2-3 turn. And I think when you're either way, whichever way we go, we're going to be hammering wide receiver for a long time, right? But with Josh Allen, all his stacking partners are cheap, right? And Keon happens to be in that quarterback window. So it would really just almost be Kyler and Chase Brown versus Josh Allen and say Keon Coleman. So we drop Keon where we would take Kyler, we would drop Keon Coleman in, and vice versa. There's Josh Palmer available later, which we might need. We can use Dalton Kincaid if we want as a second tight end. I think it's a nice little feature of the elite quarterbacks this year that outside of Hurts, and of course Joe Burrow, but I don't put him in that category. All the stacking partners are cheap. So it's like when you're running back heavy to start or just not wide receiver heavy to start, it's kind of nice to have Josh Allen because anybody that you might be drafting later from a stack perspective, it helps your team, right? It helps your structure. You're catching up at wide receiver. I'm exceptionally torn. I think I lean to Josh Allen, but I honestly could be convinced otherwise if you guys both like Chase Brown, because I don't think there's a wrong decision.
Can we throw Gibbs, McBride, and Josh Allen into your opponent draft board and just kind of see what that is looking like?
Yeah, so that's
what I just did on mine.
Yeah, what's your...
So I did that on mine. So I have 199 drafts in there. Gibbs, McBride, Chase Brown is 1. Gibbs, McBride, Josh Allen is 0.
Interesting. Mine is 3 Josh Allens and 0 Chase Browns. So I guess if we combine all of those, it's
a wash.
It's pretty much a wash. So I do think in this ADP environment and in this tournament with Chase Brown having risen up, like some of those could be from earlier in the summer when Chase Brown was at a different price. I don't know.
I'm also gobbling up a lot of the Gibbs, McBride, Allen in my rooms, not leaving those combinations for my opponents.
Yeah, exactly. I have those. Yeah.
Also fair. Oh man, it's tough. So Bernie, you're Allen.
I'm Allen because one, I like locking down both elite onesies, especially with the Jackson Burrow. But then to Eric's point, Keon's there, Palmer's there, but also Devonta Smith is likely to be there. I don't see Neal tapping Hurts and Devonta. So that makes it interesting for me too, even though because we're going to need the receivers. Let's take the good wide receivers we like that are also correlated.
Can get whoever we like in the fourth, Pickens, JMO. We can pull up Devontae there and then try to target a Zay Flowers in the fifth, or whatever. There's so many. I mean, we actually fucking look at it, right?
Yeah,
the wide receivers that are going to be available to us there. Obviously, Devontae, T-Mac, Pickens, Devontae. If we like Ridley, JMO, I mean, Terry is obviously plummeting. DJ Moore could be there. I'm not trying to float any specific name, but that's one of the strengths of the draft, obviously, at wide receiver there, and Devontae on an Allen team. It's just a little. It's microscopic in the 5-5-5, but it's a small little boost.
Can we talk one other thing real quick before we give who we want? So if we go Chase Brown here, are we willing to take Hurts or Daniels on this team?
Good question. Great question. Just pretend Hurts gets back. Just for fun. He won't, but
because
just in case.
Okay, well, if we do, what does that do to us at wide receiver?
Yeah. Now we are the RB bros now. if we do that, which isn't bad. I like the Chase Brown thing. It really, to me, comes down to that kind of, and I guess it would be if Daniels comes back, would we take Daniels, or would we stay on the wide receiver path because we need it?
I wouldn't take Daniels. I would be pushing for Kyler later.
Yeah.
To pair with McBride probably.
So do we like Chase Brown? So let's just assume, rounds 4, 5, 6 all go the same. Pretty much no matter what we do here, I do think they'll go fairly similar wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
Our whatever favorite wide receivers. So then in round 7 or 8, round 8, I guess it would be in round 8. Do we prefer the Josh Allen plus it doesn't have to be Keon. He's just a pretty good, and he would be a priority for me in that range if we took Josh Allen. Do we prefer that Josh Allen Keon with Gibbs McBride, or do we prefer Chase Brown and Kyler and Kyler Murray? Because that is I guess it will technically be a 3v3 then, right? Because we would be adding another wide receiver late, maybe a 20th, right? Whoever our 20th round pick is would switch positions between running back and wide receiver, depending upon whether it's Chase Brown here. But I think that's where I lean to the Allen side of things. I just prefer that. But Kyler Chase Brown is certainly not bad. And that's also, if we're talking about week 17 correlation, that would be Kyler plus McBride plus Chase Brown is that also.
Yeah. I'm waffling back and forth. I'd hate to miss out on an opportunity to have a unique team with a unique build that I know we can pull off more so than 90% of the field by getting Gibbs, Chase Brown with McBride. But Josh Allen just allows us to do everything.
Yeah, what do we value more?
Right.
I still think it's Josh Allen for me, but like I said, this is close. If Cal would have just goddamn taken Chase Brown, this would be a lot easier.
We would have been done 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, this would have been the quickest one. Yeah, this would have been super quick. But it's people deal with this, right? We deal with this on 20-second clocks. Yeah. And we've talked about it for 25 minutes, and I don't know. I truly don't know what the right answer is. I do think I've leaned more into this year, like what we're talking about with the Josh, like what that unlocks for the team is a little bit, because we are going to build, like Rob, like you've been saying, we're going to build this Gibbs team. We're going to build this no wide receivers through 3 better and more and different than everybody else would build that team. So I'm a little less worried about that early round unique combination. Like there's only 50 people in the final. Like if we get there, we're going to the way we build, it's going to be different anyway. So that's kind of why I tend to side with what makes this team to me more powerful, rather than if this was in the millie or something and I could guarantee myself this super duper low owned start, I know this is $1 million first place, but you know what I mean. The 1,000-person Week 17 final. I think that unique combo really comes into play. But in the 5-5-5, I think I just want to build the absolute best team, and that doesn't mean Chase Brown is not a great pick. That's just I just side to Allen.
I think this is going to be one of our hardest. This is going to be one of our hardest inflection points of the entire draft.
Agreed. It defines the whole team.
Yeah. I think it's Allen, but I will think back on this team constantly throughout the season. And
when Chase Brown's going fucking nuclear every week, and the Bills are doing Bills things and running the shit out of the ball. Right? Josh Allen throws 28 times.
Tush push was not banned, Eric.
That's true. Josh Allen, I wish they banned it for Josh Allen. I can't stand watching that guy do that. He's a whirling dervish when he's trying to. It's a slide left. No one gets stuffed on the QB sneak more than Josh Allen by sliding to the left and doing a little spin move or whatever. But
it's the Zapruder film. It's back into the left, back into the left.
All right, I'm taking Josh Allen. Also, look at this. Selfishly, Trey McBride, Josh Allen is not on that many of my team. 5% here. I also don't have hardly any Chase Brown at all. But I think we've all not like I'm excited about Josh Allen, but it feels reluctant because there's another good option on the board. But let's go ahead and do Josh Allen here, and we shall see coming up in round 4 what happens. I suspect Hurts is definitely going to go off the board. We kind of decided we don't care that much whether Jaden Daniels goes off the board, but we'll see what wide receivers come available to us here. Any parting thoughts before we sign off, Rob?
I just think that taking Allen also stresses the other drafters with the one spot doing the Jackson Burrow thing.
Let the CMC lad guy have. I mean, Chase Brown is not going to make that big of a difference. We don't love the Christian McCaffrey pick anyway. Right. Let him have.
So I think that we can just capitalize on that chaos when the DraftKings Red Wedding happens in round 7 or something like that.
Yep. The inevitable red wedding. Yep. It's insane. What round? It's like round 7 kicks it off, and then like by round 11, they're all gone. Like round 10, 11, they're all gone.
Well, and that stress that it creates also potentially just adds more 3 quarterback teams to the room, which pushes players that we like down the board.
Right.
Yeah, that's very.
We're not drafting 3 quarterbacks with Josh Allen.
Okay. And I think that means it's time. It is time to go. But we shall see. We will look back in a week or whatever and see if we still feel the same, that we made the right decision here. But that's going to do it for round 2 and round 3 of this DraftKings 5-5-5. Make sure to, as usual, hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff on the way out, and let us know who you would have picked. If you think Chase Brown was a much better selection, please drop a comment. I'm anxious to hear if people think that was as close as we did, or if they think we are idiots for debating it. They thought it was Josh Allen all along, or idiots for not taking Chase Brown. Let us know, and we'll find out how dumb we are here from you guys. But we'll catch you guys in round 4 and probably round 5.